Hey, what's up, everybody? We are often asked, hey, Mark, what are some pros and cons about moving to Colorado Springs? And that is what we are going to talk about right now. Hey, what's up, everybody? It is Mark Hubert with My Front Range Living, powered by Remax Integrity. I'm a full-time real estate agent here in Colorado Springs, Colorado. And today we are talking about the pros and cons of moving to Colorado Springs. So there's a ton of pros. So let's get started. Number one, the growth. The growth here has been fantastic. We've seen a huge population gain over the last several years. In fact, El Paso County, which is where Colorado Springs is located, is projected to be more populous than Denver County by the year 2030, which, of course, Denver County is now landlocked. They can't grow too much more, and El Paso County has a lot to grow with. But still, that gives you an idea of the influx of population, as well as earlier this year, we were ranked as the #1 fastest growing population of millennials. So we have a lot of influx of people here. The economy, because of that, has been great, and the expansion overall of our city, both culturally and from a population standpoint, has been fantastic. The other thing is cost of living. If you're coming from a major metropolitan area, the cost of living here in Colorado Springs is probably going to be a little bit better and benefit you in your favor because it's a little less expensive. Again, from a major metropolitan area, more on that in just a second. Easily one of the biggest pros for me in Colorado Springs, the craft beer community and the food that goes with it. Man, I love craft beer, and Colorado Springs is one of the best places around for craft beer. We have a lot of great folks in the craft community who are popping up all the time, and they provide great, super tasty beer and atmosphere. And with that comes homegrown food, food trucks, restaurants that are locally owned and operated. And so there's a great local food and beer scene. The weather, oh my gosh. When you have 300 plus sunny days a year, it's really hard to complain about the weather here. I love the weather. It's super mild. In my opinion, it does not get too cold in the winter. But in my opinion, it gets a little hot in the summer, and I know that I differ from some folks on that. Amber's rolling her eyes right now, but that's okay. She prefers to wear flip-flops year-round. For me, I think it's super, super mild. The humidity is very, very low. Comparatively, we have a tendency to be in the 20% range for humidity most of the time. So that's really, really low. So I love the weather here, and that gives us the opportunity to slide into the next thing, which is there is a ton to do in Colorado Springs. Because of our weather, the hiking trails, the biking trails, mountain biking is huge around here. There's so many places, great places to hike. As a matter of fact, Seven Bridges is on our list in the coming weeks. So a lot of great places to hike. You can get outside. You can walk Garden of the Gods. You can go and check out Pikes Peak. There's just so much stuff to do outside, which reminds me, I need to get my kayaks out. I haven't done that yet. I'll work on that. The other thing that I love about Colorado Springs that I consider a pro is the views. The views here are beautiful. We are a very topographically enhanced city, meaning lots of hills, lots of valleys, so on and so forth. So you can be driving in town and hit a hill and just see the entire city. It's super, super cool. We have great views of Garden of the Gods. We have the foothills just in general, the entire Front Range. But we also have Pikes Peak. We have the Air Force Academy Chapel. So wherever you are in Colorado Springs, you're bound to have fantastic views. And another pro for Colorado Springs, clearly the military. The military presence that we have here is great. And it makes it feel very much like family because everybody has a tendency to rally around the military and support accordingly. But that also helps the local economy because when the military is strong, obviously that has a tendency to have the exact same effect on our economy. So while we have a lot of military installations between the Academy and Peterson and Schriever and so on and so forth, Northcom, I don't want to forget them, but we have Fort Carson. How can I forget Fort Carson? It's one of the biggest installations we have. Anyway, the military is a big reason that our economy thrives the way that it does, so we're super, super thankful for that. We very much appreciate our military personnel. So now the cons. This list is a whole bunch shorter, only because I absolutely adore where I live. But what's interesting is the cons that I want to address are coming over from the pros side. The very first thing that I want to talk about in the cons is the growth. When we talk about that population gain, that's fine. However, unfortunately, Colorado Springs and the government itself just wasn't ready from an infrastructure standpoint for this huge explosive growth that we have had over the last several years. So a lot of our major arteries, I-25, Powers, even Mark Sheffel, Woodman out there, especially heading east, it's been tough only because we've experienced such a huge population growth that traffic is really, really bad. So when we talk about the infrastructure, that is widening our roads to account for the population growth. The potholes, we're constantly chasing potholes here in Colorado Springs just because we have a lot of tires on these roads. So the growth has a tendency to be a con in that capacity. The other thing, again, that we talked about in the pros that I want to bring over to the cons is the cost of living. If you're not from one of those major metropolitan areas or California in general, we have a tendency to have the same cost of living, but our cost of housing is higher here in Colorado Springs. Again, a gallon of milk is a gallon of milk. A gallon of gas might fluctuate a little bit, but the cost of living is generally about the same, but the cost of housing is vastly, vastly different. You have a tendency to not get as much house as you could elsewhere, say Kansas, other places like that. However, our taxes on those homes have historically been far lower than other places. So it's the cost of housing that's a little bit elevated compared to some of the other places. And with that growth and that cost of living discrepancy that we were talking about, we have a lot of panhandling, and we have an ever-increasing homeless population, which the city has had several conversations with several different entities about. Springs Rescue Mission does a fantastic job here on the south side of Colorado Springs trying to figure out how to most effectively work with the homeless to get them in a better situation. But because the cost of housing and living is what it is, it's very, very difficult to get those people into startup jobs where they can support themselves. So our homeless population and panhandling is kind of a big deal, and it's something that we're definitely talking about out here in the Springs. But hey, we hope that you found value in this. As always, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. We'd love to help. I am Mark Hubert with My Front Range Living, powered by RE/MAX Integrity. We thank you for stopping by. We'll see you soon.